Welcome to Bendy. Join your two favorite transatlantic weirdos, Andy from Ireland and Beth from the USA, as we take you on a journey through every topic imaginable, with insight, vulnerability, and fart jokes, or in other words, the complete human experience.
Hello, and welcome to Bendy, a podcast about being flexible and all of the ways that means. Thanks for joining us. My name is Andy Young, and I'm one of your united, concerted hosts. Joining me, as always, is our other united and concerted host, Beth Martin. Beth, the pleasure as always. What's
Hi.
the crack?
What's the crack?
I am immediately unpleased with those. I'm just reading them and I'm like, I don't know about this at all. But
You're
they're
like,
fine.
What was the second one?
Concerted?
Concerted. What does concerted mean?
It means like if you're working with somebody in unison, you're concerted, you know? Which
like
is,
a concerted effort?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
Which is, I guess is on theme. It is on theme. It's on theme with our subject.
It's on
with our
theme.
subject, right? Okay.
Depending on which direction this goes, yes.
Yeah, I don't want to hear anything, but from any of you at home, it's on theme, okay? But yes, so what is the crack with you this week, Beth?
The crack, I'm remodeling a dollhouse.
Ooh, that's what I'm talking about?
Apparently I didn't get enough of home improvement when we had the flood. It decimated our entire kitchen and had us living. I can't even go there because I'm still upset about it. And that was Mike was like, "Do you remember last year we were living off of like picnic tables and we were like sleeping?" We didn't have a kitchen at all. We didn't have running water. What? Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous.
This was in California?
Yeah. Yeah, the house flooded.
Yes, I forgot about that and I remember it now, yeah. Yep. Crazy.
So, but now I'm doing a dollhouse remodel, which wood floors, tile, wallpaper,
nice.
Maybe some molding at the bottom.
Okay.
I don't know. And then, but this is the dollhouse that my dad and I built together. Mm-hmm. When I was probably in elementary school, and so I carried this thing, much like the Barbie rocker van and all my Barbies, hoping that I would someday have a child that would want to play with it. Mm-hmm. And we were at there's this really great swap meet. Do you guys have swap meets, like flea market?
We do, of sorts, yeah.
Yeah, so I think I've talked about the one here ad nauseum, but so we were at the swap meet and they had this gorgeous dollhouse and it was twice the size of what we have, and it had all the flooring done, and both Harper and I were like, oh man. And we're reading The Eyes of the Dragon, where part of that story centers around this dollhouse, and it has a working loom, and that's how he escapes from this tower. I don't know if you've ever read it, but
no, I don't think I haven't.
Okay, you totally should. You totally should. It's really good. It's Stephen King, but it's the one fantasy novel he wrote, and it's one of the best.
Wait, hold on. What was it called again?
The Eyes of the Dragon.
Okay. Oh no, I have not read that. Yeah, because when you were talking about that, it made me think of the Dark Tower books, which I have read.
Right.
But anyway,
there's a tower in the book called The Needle, and
I see.
It's got a room, and someone has to escape, and I'm not going to tell you anything beyond that because you're going to read it. It's such an easy read. If you just want to sit down and go somewhere in your mind palace.
My palace.
Mm-hmm. I highly recommend it. So So because I'm reading The Eyes of the Dragon, I'm now remodeling a dollhouse, essentially.
I love it.
It's a long...
Whoa, hold on.
Long...
What's the connection there? Walk me through that again. So, because you read Eyes of the Dragon.
Yeah.
So, it has dollhouse remodeling aspects in that book? Okay, I understand.
No, it's more it's a really great dollhouse made for a queen.
I see.
And so, we have this, little colonial house that... could use some work.
Okay. Nice.
There might have been a mouse living in there, for 10 years. I don't know. So it's time. It's time.
Which neatly, beautifully segues into my what's the crack, which is that the mouse has been caught. Hooray!
You caught the mouse.
Yeah.
It didn't go in the wall.
No, literally today. My housemate, he ended up driving it. So with mice, you're supposed to leave them a certain distance. I think we've talked about this before.
Did you say was it have a heart trap? Did you like poison
Oh,
or?
oh no! What it was a live capture, so
Okay.
we released the mouse, but we drove it like basically. So like
You're like,
where I live,
where are we gonna go?
yeah.
Where's a
So
nice
yeah,
happy mouse land?
like you got to understand that like I mean about there's a couple of streets and then behind that there's just fields and stuff. So we
Really?
just kind of yeah. So I mean like it is not an uncommon occurrence for me to like certainly where I live to get stuck behind a tractor for like extended periods of time. It's a very common thing.
Here
So
too, actually.
just drove it up into the countryside and released it out there a couple of miles away. So, I mean, like he might find his way back, but and I'm hoping it's just the one
If he
because of the
does,
size of him.
if he
I
does,
think it was.
if he makes his way back,
These are the.
his name is Fievel,
Yeah, you're right.
and you're gonna keep him as a pet.
And I have to get a little like
A little
felt
hat.
cap, little felt cap, yeah,
Yep.
and like a wee red overcoat.
Yep,
Yeah,
and
you're
you
right.
can sing your song and cry and hold Fievel.
That's true. That's true. Hopefully he'll hold me. Please, bro. Yes. So there. So wait, that was good. Because whatever. As I say, I don't want to kill this guy. I don't hold him in ill will. He's just looking for food. I get it.
Totally.
But like. It's tough whenever you're like trying to cook in a place where like a mouse is shot. So it's kind of it's finding the balance there.
I get it.
But yeah.
Well,
so
congratulations.
He's been
Congratulations.
It's
That
quite an
is
achievement.
very exciting.
It's my big achievement for the week. That's not true. There's other stuff going on too. But yes, that is the crack with me currently. That's the most exciting thing, just because it's so, recent.
I have one other thing.
Thrilling.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Oh, so they do, I don't know if they do this in Ireland, but they do like school fundraisers.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
yes,
like,
they do.
Sponsored this child to run laps around the track kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or like sell a Christmas wreath or cookies and candy or whatever.
Yeah. Sponsored walks and stuff you'll do.
Yep.
Get
So
things like
this
that.
was, and I'm, it's fine. I just gave the money. I didn't sponsor laps. I should have sponsored the laps because my youngest, my 7-year-old, it was like a 30-minute run.
Mm-hmm.
And he ran the whole fucking thing.
Hell yeah.
I didn't know he could run.
That's awesome. That's a lot of running.
I know. He wore his nicest. He was very excited. I don't know kind of how his brain works yet, but he wore his nicest shirt. It's a Tahitian print, red with birds of paradise and
So not like a running shirt.
No.
It was just a shirt that he likes.
his
Okay,
dress
I like
outfit.
it.
And ran 30 minutes around this track and did not stop, did not walk.
That rules. Wow.
He got 3rd place.
Good for him. Wow,
I know.
That's nice.
And he got to pick out a toy.
Amazing.
Good.
Good.
I couldn't believe it. I know.
Congratulations.
I know. It's weird when all of a sudden your kid does something and you're just like,
Whoa.
I totally underestimated what you're capable of.
Yeah.
Or you're playing it way down and you're not showing me what you're capable of. Hold on. I'm gonna crack a something here.
Do it. It's the sort of stamina, I think, of those things. Because I know whenever I was trying to run last year, not trying to run, I did run, but building up to half an hour of running it took a few weeks to get there, So I understand that when you're that age, kind of limitless energy and stamina are kind of par for the course, but it's still quite an achievement.
I know. It made me feel really bad about myself.
No.
He was like, Mom, do you want me to teach you how to run? And I was like, yeah, buddy.
I know how to run. I think you're how dare you.
That's something I could not do. I could not do
that.
that.
Yeah, no. That's, wow.
So,
that's great.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Mm-hmm.
Glad to hear it. That's awesome.
I might need to start learning how to run, basically.
Hell yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so, do you want anything else?
No, I don't think there's any other.
Updates?
Oh no, I know there was another piece of crack that is absolutely true, which was I was looking after a Weimaraner this weekend. So Weimaraner is
we call him Weimaraner.
Yeah.
Like they're
yeah.
they're
Yeah, like German like hunting dogs.
uh-huh. They're quite big and
Yes, they are.
they have like a nice gray coat.
They do. It's really, really soft and really short. But like he is he's what 2 years old. I think he's turned 2 years old a few months back. He is what maybe 50 kilograms. Between 40 and 50 kilograms, I would say, of dog, which is a lot of dog.
Okay.
And he still like is a kind of Hallion, and he is like has that pup mentality. And he's a lovely, sweet boy, but he is a handful for a couple of days. So that was fun. It was a nice weekend to have him.
Mm-hmm.
It was lovely to see him for a few days. Yeah, it was certainly kept me busy.
How did Sasha do with having a younger dog around? Was she like?
She kind of like whenever other dogs like really energetic, she kind of has this look on her face like, oh, okay, all right, yeah, I get it. Just whatever, leave me alone. Like he's just like, I'm so done with this shit, and she just like walks off. And like she has this like spot under, we've got like a kitchen table, and she has this like spot under the kitchen table, and like she's smaller than him, so she can fit in there and he can't, so she just like gets in there and just like looks at him. It's like, yeah, you can't get me, you asshole.
Yep. I'm not playing. I'm not playing. I'm
Yeah,
not
I'm
playing
done.
your game.
Yeah. I'm too old for this shit, you know. Pulls the Danny Glover.
I was gonna ask how her itchy skin is doing.
So we're on day 7.
Okay, so you're still graphing the itchy.
Yeah, we are. And it's like kind of been going up and down. She had some days that was getting quite strong, but like it's back down to like the highest itch level on this chart was like the itching is waking the dog up in the middle of the night, and she's nowhere near that, which is a relief because I think that would be something really bad. So like just by their scale, she's at about a 4 or 5 out of 10 most of the time, which isn't really bad. So I'm hoping it's maybe just an ongoing thing with her arthritis, but we'll find out soon.
Mm-hmm. With Star's dental surgery, I started, just thinking back, I had noticed that she was barking at noise,
Mm-hmm.
like normal noise that she wouldn't normally bark at, like us like getting up and like just getting off the couch and like walking, she'd bark, or like shutting the cupboard, she'd bark. And now I'm like, oh, she was in pain, and
yeah,
I didn't know it, and so everyone check your dog's teeth.
Exactly. Just exactly. Pay attention to weird, unusual behavior, I think.
Yeah. And at the time I was like, what? Like, what am I doing that you're like barking at me? It's me.
Yeah.
And she's like making her feel bad. Now I'm the asshole. So, yeah.
But yeah. So, I guess the next thing to ask is what's occurring.
Someone said that our podcast is very professional.
Ooh,
bravo.
Take that note. Thank you.
So I just want to pass that on to you.
I really appreciate that.
I know,
That's
right?
very kind. Yeah, that's
They'd
awesome.
only listened to episode 2.
Really? I mean, that's
as far as they'd gotten. I was like, oh, it's only the bell curve.
We have stepped up since then for sure. Yeah, exactly. That was yikes. I mean, I think by episode 2, I at least have my microphone, which was good. It was like the first episode was on a headset, facing the right way as well. Well, no, facing the incorrect way then. So, yeah, I appreciate that nonetheless.
Yes. And then our Patreon is rockin' and rollin'. So, you can access it through our website at bendypodcast.com. Would love to get some people. You get to see us recording, not live, but you see our faces, and it's not just the video shorts. I think we're pretty funny, and you're missing out on seeing me in the Big Lebowski sweater.
It's true. It's true.
And it's like 4 times too big for me. So I look like the blueberry girl in Willy Wonka Chocolate Factory.
Willy Wonka, yeah.
Violet Beauregard or whatever.
Violet Beauregard, yeah, you're exactly right. And I'm wearing some sort of fluffy Vans monstrosity as well. Yeah. So I mean, like, don't you want to see these things? Of course you do.
Yeah. So sign up, and we're going to start
Please.
throwing some extra stuff on there.
We are.
So, and not raise the membership price. So for the monthly cost, you get all the things, and we're never going to charge you more because you're awesome.
No.
So, yeah.
And the plan is that we're going to keep sort of adding more things to that Patreon. As time goes on, our hope is to keep adding to that and making a better value for everyone.
Yes,
you know.
Yes, and then going on tour and
of course
in person. So
exactly. We will
right.
We will not.
You know what I was thinking? So Andy, I have to talk to you. This is like. Are you free? I know, but are you free in May? So I have a free airline ticket. And so I can come. So I know I said like April, but I'm thinking now maybe May because April's not going to work because Mike's going to be at some tiny island off of Okinawa.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, is the short answer to that. Like I have a few things planned in May, but I think there are things that you would want to go to anyway. Like I'm planning to go down to Dublin for a jazz festival.
Ooh.
And I'm also planning to go down. So there's like an Irish sort of fire festival type thing that I'm planning to go to in one of the weekends in May.
Like the fire festival, like FYRE, the one that happened at...
Oh yeah, that completely legit festival that was a thing that happened. Those, no, it's I do not want to butcher the pronunciation of this. So I'm
Find
look
out
it
in
up.
your mind palace.
Yeah, well, I'm doing that right now. So,
but I was go ahead.
So it's basically it's called Beltane, I think, is so it's basically a fire festival in to mark the sort of start of summer.
I bought a book about witchcraft.
It's in there.
Most things are. I think witches just were started in Ireland because it's all Irish tradition stuff.
Yeah, there was actually a. So basically, there's an area close to me called Island McGee, and there was an exhibit recently called "The Witches of Island McGee" about like a witch trial in like the 1800s, and it was kind of really interesting angle on all of that, like how much of that sort of way of thinking was suppressed by whenever the English kind of took over. They kind of suppressed a lot of that, and it was interesting stuff. But yes, so if you come over in May, those are things that are, and of course I think you probably want to do both of those things maybe.
Yeah.
You would love Bray, and I think you would love. I haven't been to this fire festival yet. I really want to go this year. So yeah, either way, I think they could be good. So
I was also thinking for listeners, like we could do a meetup.
Yeah.
Where we would be like, we're going to be at this place at this time if you want to come and hang. And it could be just like your friends or whatever, but like...
It probably would be, but like absolutely, let's do it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I'll talk to you offline about dates. But Mike was like, we have this ticket. We should get it booked, so...
Yeah, do let me know.
He's going to be gone. It's basically like, he's like, I owe you a trip because I'm going to be gone.
Yeah.
Science in some random place off Japan.
We also and again, this is probably also an off-pod thing we need to talk about. Oh no, what have I forgotten the name of it now? At the end of August.
Oh, Burning Man.
Burning Man. Yeah.
We do need to talk about that.
Off pod.
But we got to get tickets.
Yeah, exactly. I know that's exactly one thing. That's one of the things I need to talk to you about quite soon. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's fine. We'll get there.
Okay. So yeah, that's what's going on.
I like it. Yeah, sweet. That was a clean explanation.
Did you do
of
your
all
laundry?
The news. Yeah, that was.
Did you remember to brush your teeth this morning?
That was everything that people are wondering about in a very clean and substantial fashion. So perfect. We did a good job.
Best podcast ever.
Yep. So this is the professionalism they're talking about, Beth, right here.
Because we hired Doug.
Yeah, exactly. Thank God.
Our imaginary researcher.
Doug, you beautiful genius.
Isn't he lovely?
He is lovely. Okay.
It's too hot for the sweater. I gotta take it off. It's so fucking hot.
I'm sure it is very
and
hot.
It's making my face red because I'm laughing. I just like
wearing a sweater in California. You mean?
No. Such a a-hole.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Let's get back to this professional podcast.
We are so professional.
We are. So, our topic of this week is, well, it's about weddings, and we've decided to title it Nice Day for a White Wedding. I don't know where that name came from. It
Don't
just
know.
occurred to me in
Never
a
heard of
dream.
it before.
No,
Very.
no, 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 no. So, we are just going to talk about, use this to talk about weddings, both our experience with weddings, like the difference between weddings, yeah, in Ireland compared to the US, similarities, things like that, and our own sort of, feelings and experiences on those things. Um, I suppose I was going to ask, just generally, as a way to kind of get into this, was like, how do you feel about going to weddings? Like, do you like them overall? Do you not like them? Where are you at? Where are you at with them?
I gave this a lot of thought actually. Um, I give this a lot of thought
Mm,
because the topic, like when you were like, "What about weddings?" Like I was immediately like, "Ugh." But then I started to think about the ones I've been to and like how do I actually feel when I go and how do I actually feel like when I'm in a wedding with some, like supporting someone. And the last thing I wrote on my show notes, or Doug wrote, was I still believe in weddings.
nice.
Yeah.
That's a nice one.
So I think overall, even though we're going to get into all of the things that I find to be irritating and annoying,
Yeah.
like the overall feeling I have is that they're a wonderful, positive, amazing thing that you get to, bear witness to someone's
Yeah.
affection for someone else and then hope that they don't get divorced.
Straight. I I saw a thing recently, and it was like reveal what you've written in your notes apps, whatever the last thing you wrote in your notes apps was, and somebody would put in, "I want to start sports betting on people's marriages," so which I loved as a concept, but so I
It's
think
like the Deadpool.
right, but they could never know, but it would be kind of quite interesting. Um, so
That's
I
that's our
think
that's our genius idea.
I start sports betting on people's marriages. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, we're gonna catch a lot of flack for that, but that's for Doug to deal with.
That's right. Sorry, Doug.
Sorry, Doug. Okay, so
What about you?
I think I'm broadly where you are with it. Like I have been to some nightmare weddings that I really hated. Like it really strongly it depends on if it's a group of people that I know. Awesome, can't wait. I like doesn't have to like it's extremely rare that I'm going to know everyone that's there, but if there's a core group of people whose company I really enjoy, who I'm close to, it's like awesome, can't wait. This is going to be good fun. Um, the flip side of that is I've been to weddings where I've known hardly anybody, and this is not always the case, and sometimes they're good, but due to certain circumstances, it was tough to like. I'm not like told you before. I'm not really good at like meeting people or starting conversations with people, and I remember going to one wedding. The person I was with kind of disappeared, and I not disappeared, but just like went out for a few hours, was off speaking to people that they knew, and I was like, crap, and I went back to my table because I'd been speaking to some of the people that were, and so, some of them were nice, and the table had cleared out. Like they cleared out all the tables, and people were just milling around, and I was like, I don't remember what any of these people look like really. I don't, out of the context of the table, and I was just like, okay, so I was just like nursing a pint and like on my phone, and I was just like, this is awful. I also have been at a wedding. Oh no, we'll get into this, but we'll get into this later. But so yeah, I think generally I really like it. I really I like you say, it's really lovely. Both seeing, especially people you care about, in that setting. Do you know what I mean? And people who have like relationships you both believe in and kind of envy a little bit. Seeing them happy is really lovely, and just as an excuse to get a group of people together and spend a time together and like a joyous celebration is really special a lot of the time, I think.
Mm-hmm. And I would say, regardless of the long term outcome, just
Mm-hmm.
it's we have so few things that bring us together, like
Yes.
as a community, especially as we get older. It's like, you know, I mean, I remember in my 20s, it was like, and 30s, like everybody was getting married. So it was like,
Yeah.
oh, this wedding this year, and like we had like 5 weddings a year, and now I'm like, no one's getting married anymore. And,
Yeah.
So, I miss that. I do miss going and like being together, and unless it's a wedding, it's like, oh, it's a birthday, like it's not as, odds are I'll be like, oh, I can't make it. Right.
Yeah.
So it's a community, it's like a gathering. Yeah, it gives us a reason to gather.
100%. Yeah. And I think that's good, especially you're like these days, because it's not really like, communities aren't the same. It's not like a group of people in a village who all know each other. It's actually so like there'll be people that you just won't see for a long time, and then you're invited to their wedding. So it's really nice. I agree. But yeah, so I guess then I wanted to just I suppose would it be a good time to get into talking about the differences between weddings in the UK and Ireland. So like I don't think I've been to a US wedding. I don't know. I think they're broadly the same.
Well, yeah, it depends on. I mean, I've been to a wedding that cost like $1,000, and I've been to a wedding that cost 6 figures.
Yikes! Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I have thoughts on that, right? Obviously, like I would do something else with that money.
Yes.
But everyone has different income thresholds, and they're just bigger than mine.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting, like East Coast weddings versus West Coast weddings.
Mm-hmm.
Like, think on the East Coast weddings, they're much more formal. There's definitely like, an order of things at which things occur during the event. On the West Coast, things are a lot less formal. Like, my sister got married at Burning Man.
Nice.
My mom was there. And Mike's mom was there. Mm-hmm. And my brother-in-law's mom was there. So it was a very different experience that year. But so people kind of do things much more casually on this coast.
Yeah.
And, obviously that's not taking into account like any sort of like religious or cultural aspects that might be part of a wedding,
Yeah, absolutely, so, that's true.
What about your part of the Venn diagram?
I think we are more towards the formal end. I think, and I've talked about recent weeks about, I've had some friends who just went to a registry office and have done it on the, quickly and quietly, and I respect that. Do you know what I mean? I think that you should be able to do it in your terms, but I think by and large they're more formal. They will take place in a church often, and then you'll move on to somewhere different for a reception. But I was at one recently, and they had it in a museum, which was such a lovely place to have the ceremony. But I think by and large there is, like you say, an order of procession. There is, even within those things that kind of break the format a little, there are like we have this. You have the ceremony. Then there's pictures taken for like an hour and a half, and people mill about, normally getting drunker than usual, and then there's speeches, and then food, and then dancing, and that's pretty much how it breaks down. I just remembered that wedding I was at. So like I knew I had a few hours to kill, and it was like, it wasn't like, it was maybe like a 30-minute walk to the next location, and I was like, I'll go and get some lunch. And so I was like, fully suited up, and I ran into a guy who I had done some yoga classes for. Like, I'd done yoga classes for this men's shed group for a while, which is like for men, older men who, just a community type thing. And he was like, oh, you're looking swell, you're looking great. And I was like, oh, thanks very much. And he's like, maybe in the future for yoga classes, if you maybe come dressed, something a bit more like this. And I'm like, what? I just like nodded and smiled, But I was like, "Are you insane?" I mean, like, I get that, maybe because
Do you think it was being funny or was he being serious?
no, but I think he was.
Weird.
But I think he maybe wanted. I think maybe, but like, I'm not sure how you would dress professionally if you're about to do yoga. I'm not sure how to make that work. Anyway,
So uncomfortable.
right? Like, I mean, even if
You're like, you too, buddy.
Yeah, but he does dress in suits, because he's an older guy, But I think he was just like, because I was coming in with just like whatever, like a hoodie on over my yoga gear, because it makes sense because I want to be able to get in and out, But anyway, so that was quite funny. Anyway, sorry, I hugely digress.
That's good. That was good.
So
please do not wear suits to teach yoga.
No, I will definitely
that weird.
Not
That's
be doing
so
that.
Weird,
isn't it? It's such an old, but like I mean, none of them responded. They were like, I don't know, they had funny attitudes for the yoga anyway. Anyway, I digress. Multiple times now. But very formal in that way. There is a structure to them, and they like adhere to that most of the time. I would say.
Mm-hmm. I think it's the same thing here. Like beginning reception where you start drinking. So everybody gets nice and socially lubricated.
Yes.
And then the procession and the vows and then the pictures and then there are, some people do like a money dance where like you dance with the bride and then you give them an offering of a certain amount of money.
Oh, interesting.
There's like the garter belt thing where you like someone takes the garter, there's the throwing of the bouquet, and if you catch the bouquet then you're the one that's most likely to get engaged or married next.
Yep. If you catch the garter belt, you're gonna get laid.
You're gonna get I don't know, maybe. I mean, yeah, that's probably what it is.
Yeah, probably.
And now, but like people get married and like it's kind of like Pinterest took over. And everyone realized that they could get married in a barn and put like lovely lights around, and then it costs a lot less money than a formal church ceremony. So I would say the majority of the weddings I go to are actually not in a church.
But I think that like even those have started happening here as well. But I think it's almost turned the corner where they're quite expensive now too. Because people have realized how popular they are.
Yeah, and how good it looks on Instagram.
Exactly.
Sorry, such an asshole.
All that matters.
That's true.
Have you been to any, and I'm lucky in that most people I know are not like this, but have you been to any like bridezilla type of weddings?
Yes,
Can you talk about them? Okay.
I have.
I'm going to talk about, can I talk about my experience? I'll just talk about my experience, and because I only was like on the outside edges of this, but I kind of heard some stuff. So like in this wedding, there was in the lead up to it, so the bride's mother was quite heavily involved and had had a lot of additions she wanted to add to the list, and there was like so much fighting and back and forth between the bride and her mother. And the thing that I remember clearly about this, I mean there was loads of it, but the thing I remember clearly was her mother turning around to her at one point and goes, "Dear, this wedding is my day as much as it is yours." And I was like, wow. And like the whole wedding was so materialistic. Like the day before they were to get married, or 2 days before, she told him that she didn't want to take his name, and like, which again, fair enough. Don't have that discussion 2 fucking days before the wedding, So there was all this drama. Like, and I was lucky in that I was like, outside of it all, I could just like sit back and munch popcorn as I watched chaos unfold. But that's the closest I've got to it, and I think the only wedding I've been to that has been kind of like that, thankfully.
So I was in a wedding with a bridezilla.
Oh.
And I think my friend ended up cashing out much of his retirement to pay for the wedding, and they didn't end up staying together, so I don't feel bad telling this story.
Yeah.
She was a demon of a person.
Yeah.
And that takes a lot for me to say, because I think most people
are
awesome, right? They were not well suited, I'll say, and he ended up with someone much, much, much better for him. But so yeah, the lead up to the wedding, I remember we would go out for drinks each week, and we were sitting there, and my sister was also a bridesmaid. We were both bridesmaids, and
Mm-hmm.
this lady proceeded to just tear us down and tell us what horrible bridesmaids we were, and we weren't engaging in the group chat enough, and we weren't, paying
Fun.
for the money to do whatever, and we weren't, we didn't do enough. We weren't doing enough, and so that was fun. And
Yeah.
then the actual day before, we were all supposed to do the decorating,
Mm-hmm.
and Mike and I left a little bit early and didn't tell. We did what we call the Irish goodbye, where you just leave and don't tell anyone
Oh,
that you.
my
Yeah,
favorite thing
yeah,
to do.
right. I know, it's like my favorite too. I'm glad that your country invented this
It's such a
wonderful.
beautiful,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. So I got a text the next morning that was like, "Are you even going to be in the wedding?" And I was
Wow.
like, well, "Yeah, like seriously." And I was like, "I'm so sorry. I thought, you know, we were." Mike wasn't interested. He was like, "Let's get out of here." Like he and I had just started dating. I think he
Yeah.
was in the country for like 3 days for this, and then had to leave again. He was like, "I want to maximize, the time that we have," and so
Yeah.
whatever. I mean, I'm sure I could have stayed and decorated another half hour or whatever, but I helped. I did my part.
Yeah, but
And
and
then
yeah.
that day, the wedding day, she and her mom got in a screaming match. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember I just like got a flask, shoved it in the boob of my dress, my bridesmaid's dress, and I was like, "This is how this day is gonna go."
Wow.
Yeah.
I, and it's like it's one of those things, and I wonder is she like that? And it was the same wedding I talked about where it was like I heard more than once the bride said, "This is the day I've been waiting for my whole life," and I'm like, that kind of sucks in a way. Like that's kind of really sad to me in a lot of ways. It's like, well, I mean, you have been. I mean, and everything about that sort of wedding and that relationship was like kind of messed up because it was like she had went to London. She was trying to bag herself a banker, a rich man, which she did. He was a
Uh huh.
banker,
Uh huh.
so like it was a very much a sort of aspirational sort of wedding. Like they seemed to like each other just fine based on what I saw, but like I don't know that they were like head over heels in love or anything like that. It seemed to be very much a union of this is what I should be doing. This is very much a social climbing sort of family. Um, but yeah, it just I don't know, just the idea of this is my whole life's been building towards this kind of like bums me out a wee bit. It's like
It's
I don't
She's
get
just
me
setting
wrong,
herself up for disappointment because
very much so.
events never go right and things always go wrong and there's always stuff you have to deal with. And
Yeah,
like I had yeah,
it's
that's
nuts. I mean,
that is sad.
it is, and also and I mean like by all means it should I think it should be a great day, but you're right, putting that amount of pressure on it's fine, and also like weddings or should be a special day, but it's just a day, and like there's so much else in life to enjoy, and if your whole life has been building towards this, that kind of makes me feel like the rest of it has been lesser somehow, and that makes me sad for you. Kind
Right?
of. Yeah.
It's like people
So.
that are like, "Oh yeah, my best times were in high school," and you're like, "Oh,
Oh yeah, that
really?
sucks. Yeah.
Oof."
Yeah, that's
Mm.
rough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, um, yeah, our so Mike's and my wedding, we got married, and I'm just gonna tell you, we got
Do
married
it.
in his parents' side yard,
Nice.
and we had a barbecue truck come,
Nice.
and we bartended.
Mm-hmm.
We still have the bar, which you'll see when you come
Oh, did I?
visit. You might have. We might have
I think
had
I
it.
might have seen it. It might have been at Mike's mum and dad's house when I was there.
I
I
think
think
it
that
might
sounds
have.
familiar.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it was downstairs or something. Yeah, that does
Yeah.
sound
Yeah.
familiar.
Yep. So that was a wedding gift.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Nice.
and then our friend spun fire, like fire poi,
Yeah.
and we had like porta potties, and everyone just kind of hung out and like, ate food under the trees, and we did limbo, and we had a limbo contest for a bottle of tequila.
Nice. I
So
love it.
yeah, so it's very like we had a budget. We had a budget. and we were
Yeah.
able to, to meet that budget, and also like, think things through, like, do we want to buy a house
Yeah.
together, like, do we want to take a honeymoon, like, let's put money towards an adventure instead. And honestly, I was
Yes.
like, let's elope, and he's like, there's no way my mom would let that happen.
Yeah.
So, which is fine.
Like, because my sister did that. They went to Las Vegas to get married. So they did a
Really?
Vegas wedding. Yeah. Yep. 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 And that didn't, like, because that would be very much,
Did you know
if
it was like happening?
I don't think I did, no.
Okay.
And like, and I'm very much like, awesome. I'm glad that you did it. These are happy. That's great. That's all that matters to me. But like, it was a bit of a bone of contention. So there was like a reception type of thing that happened a couple of months later for my with my with the parents and stuff like that, which I understood. And she wore the wedding dress again and things like that. So, but I was happy again. They did it on their own terms,
Yeah.
and I'm really happy with that. Like, one of my there's a couple of dear friends of mine. They got married over in Thailand on the beach, and it was fucking awesome. It was just a really nice time, and exactly the sort of thing. If I were to ever get married, that what I would want to do. Yeah. So I think that's
Go to
just, yeah.
Thailand?
Well, no, go to a beach somewhere like a a nice.
Yeah.
Well, not an Irish beach. a nice beach. I'm sorry, there are nice Irish beaches, but I wouldn't want to rely on Irish weather for a beach wedding.
That's
Let's
the
put it that
thing.
way.
Yeah, that's the thing.
You
So,
know.
like, I worked at a college and I ran their events department.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that was uh, I would have to help people with their weddings. And we
Mm-hmm.
only let, if they had to be they had to be alumni. Like, it's one of the most beautiful colleges on the West Coast. And so, and I didn't have time to be planning weddings, honestly. Like, I was doing a lot of other things, but it was a lot of like, this is my, I had to deal with the the event side, and that was not my favorite thing, because there were
Mm-hmm.
a lot of parents that were like, this is my day too. And I think you just said something that kind of struck me, like, your sister got married on their own terms.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that doesn't happen enough with weddings, is that, like, it's not
Yeah.
on people's own terms. And I think part of it, it's like, I mean, you can go way back and look at, like, the diamond industry and how diamonds are plentiful.
Yeah.
But De Beers has, and all of the, honestly, De Beers has made it so they are controlling the market. They're, the idea that you have to have a diamond ring, and then
Yeah.
the whole wedding industry, and you need a photographer, you need a caterer, you need a wedding planner, you need the donut truck, you need
Yeah.
the fireworks to go off. And it's like, the horror stories from some of these things. And I heard about someone that had a fireworks. No, they did those Chinese lanterns.
Yes.
So they did Chinese lanterns, right?
Yep.
And then in the summer in Oregon,
Mm-hmm.
which the fields get dry. That's an outdoor
Oh
wedding. You're letting all
no.
these lanterns down. Yeah, and one of them dropped in the field. Two, or no, it was like 25 acres burnt. And so she was like, my
Jeez.
wedding present from my parents was like paying the fee and the fines for doing this thing.
Yeah, that's a nightmare.
So, so things can go south like that too.
Yeah. That's and those are like, to me, those are like built in for like a stunt of like, woohoo, isn't this exciting? Those like lanterns we've done, when I've ever done them, it's been in the beach, which makes sense to me because they
Yeah.
tend to blow out over the ocean. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
they're gonna burn up and whatever. But yeah, it has become such an industry, and I don't was I at one? I think I maybe was. like at a wedding convention type thing. Like it was in the same convention center as something else. I remember like seeing part of it, or there was, and it like it's such an industry, and like you know how they drill down on the specific areas, and like people build up businesses around these, and it's just a bit sort of ghoulish and predatory, but like you know,
And like
well,
this concept that you have to do all these things, right? So there's a way now that you ask your friends if they want to be a bridesmaid or groomsman,
yeah,
where you invite them out to like a breakfast, and you're like, I would like you to, like you're like asking them out or whatever,
fuck
and then you give
that.
them, and then there's a whole unboxing thing where you give them this like
Yes.
present that has like a bridesmaid mug and like a mini bottle of champagne and glitter and whatever, and it's like that's a whole thing, and then it's like the bachelorette party, the bachelor party has to
That
happen,
sucks.
and that's like can be thousands of dollars for whoever's attending, right? So it's just like it's, and I think part of it is like social media, honestly,
Yeah.
has made it bigger and bigger, and so it's like the countdown to the wedding, and it's like, oh, just get married, please get married, just do it, just elope, like don't make this all be here
It
for.
it has. There's somebody the week. No, I'm not going to talk about
I know.
that.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
I think we
I
are,
think we
and
are
it's
thinking of the
happening.
same person.
It's happening in the social media currently, and there's a lot of it. Yeah, okay,
Uh-huh.
okay, good to know. Uh,
Yeah.
but we'll say no. We'll say no more. Yeah, it is kind of wild to me, and I like I don't know. It just I don't know. I think there's a problem in the world with like all the pressure that's put on things, and I feel like it's such a shame that this thing. I mean, like I suppose there was already a certain amount of like fanfare and big deal about weddings and stuff like that, but it is essentially about two people who are in love, or at least it should be. I would hope a lot of the time,
Yeah.
and for that to be like capitalized on and to made into like a money making venture is just a bit
Yeah.
kind of sad. And I think it's what one of the reasons we're all so stressed out about everything these days.
It doesn't need to be as stressful as it is.
No.
Also, I had a bulldog as a ring bearer. It's the cutest thing
Nice.
ever. And then she fell asleep on my wedding dress and was snoring while we were saying our vows.
Perfect.
I know. So I have to ask you, like, if you have, so your ideal wedding would be what?
Probably a beach or something somewhere with
Yeah.
like I my so
So
if I was to do it,
destination.
destination, and there's a couple of reasons for that. If you do a destination wedding, not as many people can come, right? And I don't want to preclude anybody, but like it would mean that I would kind of like just keep it small by the very virtue of it, that way the money then would be spent on going somewhere and spending time in that place with people. So I think that's probably what I would aim for. Like the thing
It's
that I have
part
thought
of who
about,
you are too. So it's like just true of who you are.
I very much so. And like whenever like I was engaged briefly, and whenever I was thinking about that, it was kind of like the reality of what that wedding would look like. And it's like, again, I don't. The way very much my opinion is people like me, but I don't fucking get it. It's kind of annoying to me because I don't know how to handle it. So it's like if
Push them
if,
away.
so I just want to push them away. But it's like if I was to have a wedding, I would I was like, who would I invite? Who would I not invite? That whole fucking minefield I want to avoid completely. Because like I don't want to stop anybody coming to something like that, but at the same time I don't know, you've got to like draw a line under it somewhere.
It's
So
hard.
I hate all of that political shit. So if you make it as a destination wedding, if you can make it, cool. If you can't, don't even worry about it. Then
And
it
then you
makes
can just
it,
like invite everybody.
yeah.
Yeah.
So all your like besties will probably come,
Yeah.
if they can. So that's perfect.
Yeah. No, I think it's really smart. And I remember more people RSVP'd than we thought would come.
Uh-huh.
And I like had rented a tent because Oregon, and like it wasn't big enough, but we couldn't afford a bigger one. So it was definitely like the tent and all the chairs, and then the chairs just kept going like beyond the tent.
That's
And
awesome.
as an event planner, like I was so embarrassed about it, but I was like, you know what, it doesn't matter.
No, not at all.
And then everybody picked up their chairs and we're like, move your chairs over to the tables, and they were like, cool, right?
Perfect.
Yeah.
And that's what you want. It's like, yeah, so what? It's moving chairs, cool.
Yeah.
But like, what did you get a nice day for it?
We did get a nice day.
Good.
But because of my event background, like I know the Farmer's Almanac, I knew the weekend in September we would get good weather, because September is always iffy. But I planned enough outdoor events that I was like, I had all my event planner tricks.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah. But go ahead.
No. Go on, finish what you were going to say, because I would move on.
I was ready to move on too.
Okay. Cool.
They were white porta potties, by the way.
Well, that was an important detail. So like, one of the things I was, because I was just doing a bit of research in terms of like, you know, the difference between Irish weddings and American weddings, and this is something I'm fairly.
Doug was doing the research.
Doug was doing the research, exactly, in my pause. And he needs to stay out of there after talking about it. So something that I don't think I knew was particularly connected to weddings. I think it was just a kind of a friendship thing, was the Claddagh ring. Do you have Claddagh rings?
Oh, they're the hands with hearts?
Yes, the hands sort of holding, they're almost the hands are holding, but there's like a heart in between those sort of hands clasping together.
I've seen people with them. I don't really know what they're about. If it's like, I've seen them before, but I don't know anything about them. People in America, I've seen them on their fingers.
Yes, so I think it's
called a Claddagh ring.
Claddagh, yeah, so Claddagh. But like I saw them like as a friendship thing, and I saw people wearing them. But then I think in recent years I found that they were also, you know, they were used as an engagement ring whenever like you put them on.
Doesn't it matter which side the heart is shaped or facing?
That's exactly it. So whenever you were engaged, the heart would be pointing. So you would put that. So the heart was pointing away from you. Whenever you were married, the heart would be pointing towards you.
Gotcha.
So that's the direction the ring.
So that would be the engagement ring.
Yeah. No, so it would be used as both. So like it would be used when you were using it for engagement. Right. The point of the heart would be pointing towards the tip of your finger, so away from you, and then reversed whenever you get married. Sorry, no diamonds on the Claddagh ring. Thank you very much.
I bet they have them on there now, though. So is that still a thing?
I don't know if it's as much a wedding thing as it used to be, but it seems like it was what people would have worn or people would have done for rings for weddings, kind of, you know, historically in Ireland, you know. But I didn't know whether they were something that like kind of made its way over to the US, Claddagh rings in particular.
It has. I'm going to reach into my mind palace really quick.
I love it. It's just while you're doing that, like when it's in your mind palace, I will talk about a little bit about like other things was like. And I'm sure there's some people do this, like, so like kilts are kind of like a thing that you see in Ireland as well. Scotland, obviously they're Scottish too, but you see some people wearing kilts on their wedding day and things like that, and they're quite happens. Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not surprised people have like that sort of ancestry would be wearing kilts, I'm guessing.
Kilts are just kind of in here right now.
Oh, really?
Like they have. I don't know if you've heard of Utilikilt.
No.
You should look in your mind palace. For that, Mike has one. He can hold 20 beers. They're popular with like the Burning. We're talking about Burning Man a lot, but it's popular with the Burning Man crowd. I thought. Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Like people that are like, yeah, they're pretty cool. So he totally has one, and yeah, it's like they're I would say men in kilts, generally attractive. Men in like. Yeah. So yeah, Utilikilts are pretty. I can't believe you've not heard of this.
No, it's amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna.
What amazing,
work
what
on.
amazing.
Like this. This is gonna be the first sponsor I'm gonna work on.
Okay, Utilakilt's beautiful. I mean, like, what amazing festival thing. Yeah, it's such a great idea.
Yeah. Sponsor. Okay, so I was looking up the Claddagh because I had thought that there was something about like Jesus, and I realized it's the Trinity.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, something's collapsing in here. It's okay.
No, you're fine. So it's it does at least here it does represent friendship, but it also represents the Holy Trinity.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
That's a little bit of background on that.
Tracks.
Utilikilt.
Yeah, like it's all I can think about now.
I know.
Like I've already been thinking about what clothing items I want to buy for Burning Man anyway, but like I think Utilikilt's got to go on the list.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, boots, Utilikilt.
Yeah, all I need really. I mean, like, as long as it's a good reason for me to get like as fit as possible, and then just go shirtless the whole time.
Seriously, and there are like rangers out there who are like volunteer peacekeepers, and they're all in Utilikilts. It's just like it's a thing.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
You're
all
like
right.
you were getting the eye sparkles.
I am like.
And I was like professional cuddler, and you were like,
I'm already like, I hope hurry up and let's finish this podcast so I can go Utilikilt shopping.
Can I back up to professional cuddling? I Googled it because I was just like, maybe this is something. So there actually was one in Belfast.
Oh, hey,
but she had to shut down because of COVID, but her website's still up.
Interesting.
So, and she's like no longer able to practice, couldn't afford the rental space. But she actually had her own space, and she was a professional cuddler. So
that's good to know. I like to do that. I also, I'm also.
I know we're jumping around, and it's nothing to do with weddings, but sorry, everyone.
They like it. They like it.
Digress.
I hope. But like the other thing that sticks in my mind from an earlier episode was the laughter yoga thing as well, which is something I've keep like it keeps coming back in my brain. I'm like, I think I maybe need to pursue this.
I think you do too. I think you do too.
We'll see.
Yes.
But yes. So I mean, do we have anything more to talk about with weddings?
I have one thing that Mike said that I thought was wise. Mm-hmm. He said, "No one remembers if you're there, but people always remember if you're not there." That's
a good point.
I know.
And you get shit for it.
Yeah. So if anyone is like, "Do I really want to go to that wedding?" Yeah,
that's true. And I've definitely there's been some that I've agreed to, and then I've realized not super close. I always try to give them a bit of warning, and I'm like, I'm going to know nobody there. I'm going to be miserable.
Yes.
Why am I doing this? I'm just doing this because it's societally expected from me, and I'm like, I don't really like doing that anyway.
Right.
So but that's a very good point.
Yeah, and from my own perspective, like there's at least one person that didn't go to my wedding that I harbor no ill will about.
Sure.
But I'm still like, I'm really bummed that they missed it.
Yeah.
And we've been married for like, it was 2009 when we got married.
Oh, nice. Wow. 14 years.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, that's good. Okay, so I think we're ready to
wrap
up.
I think in general, thumbs up.
Smashed it. We've comprehensively, as always, covered like every topic we do. Comprehensively covered weddings in every shape or form. So yeah,
you're welcome, world.
You're welcome, world. I mean, obviously, if you have any feedback or any wedding experiences you want to let us know about, please do. Or any thoughts on what we've talked about today.
That could be I'm sure there are because I was Googling just like wedding topics, and there are a lot of wedding podcasts.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. About like everything, like, bad speeches specifically, like bad speeches.
Oh, wow.
Bad photography, mishaps, all that kind of stuff. So, anyways.
I love it.
#weddings.
Yeah. #weddings. So, Just when we thought we were out of the woods, we get into
It's the time.
everybody's favourite part. So, Beth, what's been bringing you joy this week?
Well, other than you discovering Utilikilts.
Sure. That's bringing me joy as well, right now.
I'm rewatching The Bear.
Ooh.
Have you watched it yet?
I've seen season 1, and you know, I was going to start watching season 2, and I think that's a kick. And I was thinking about it in the car today, and I think I will start watching it tonight.
It's so good.
I love season 1.
I was like, there's no way season 2 can surpass season 1, and they do.
Okay.
That's all I'm gonna say. It's so good. So I'm just like, I've watched both seasons, and now I'm going through them again. It's just like, I don't know what formula. I guess I should read more of the book that you told me to read about storytelling.
Oh yeah, Into the Woods. Into the Woods.
Into the Woods. It's on next to my side of the bed, but it's just like, it's a simple story. It's the characters.
Yeah.
And how they've really fleshed the characters out.
Yeah.
Like kind of like how you were saying in the last episode that you saw the beekeeper.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, no character development at all. It's like there's so much character development, and I think that happens less and less in films and TV shows now, that you're just kind of left to like make assumptions or not, or be apathetic about the characters.
Yeah.
And like, you can't be apathetic about the characters in The Bear.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
They're so fleshed out and wonderful and like human, and I just love it. So that's been bringing me joy.
I think
watch
that
season 2, you'll love it. Oh my god!
Yeah, I'm going to. I'm going to make the effort, because like, you know, it's so interesting. It's you hear some people. I mean, like Beekeeper, I loved, but it's not my type of thing ordinarily. Like I do love like a dumb action movie every now and again, but all of my like favorite stuff has been very much about, you know, getting into character motivations. Like shows that I think other people would talk about as in, well, nothing happens in that show. Do you know what I mean? Because it's all character development. But I think those are things like, because Mad Men is one of my all-time favorites. I love how I love the character development in those shows. I love like the places it takes them. I love like by the end of that show, and all the history they've shared, like certain sequences of them spending time together, and you know, like, you know, the full weight of their like relationship to each other over the years. Mm-hmm. It's so interesting to me. Anyway, so yeah, I'm right there with you on that. So what's been bringing me joy? Something did occur to me. Yes, I am reading. I'm kind of like on a comic blitz. I finished my book at Christmas, and I've just been reading, so I have like all of Paper Girls sitting there, which I can't wait for, and I've read like 12 issues or so of that. It's a really good comic. It was made into a show as well, and the one I'm reading is called Mind Management, and it is one of those sort of things where there's an organisation that kind of has agents who mind control the world in different ways, but like how it tells the story is really interesting, as in you're kind of thrown into the deep end, and like kind of layers are revealed as time goes on, and then you start seeing things through like a different angle, and it's really meticulously crafted, and it's just really, I don't know, it's really kind of tickling my imagination at the minute, which is always lovely.
I just love the idea of a comic book blitz.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's welcome to my, it's my dream as a comic book blitz. I just love them so much. So yeah, so but like, I'm always reading something. But yeah, so that was excellent by both of us. Beth, top marks.
I give us 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I think so as well. We really nailed it.
We did.
So I think that's everything for this week. So we would like to remind you, as always, to stay bendy. Yeah.
I matched you.
Yeah, you think?
Fucking it. You think?
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Bendy, a Beth and Andy podcast. They say that we need to have a call to action at the end of each episode, so here you go. If you haven't already, please follow and subscribe to Bendy on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, and YouTube. We also now have a Patreon page, which I think I can finally pronounce, where you can access the video recordings of each episode at bendypodcast.com, along with new merch just for you. Next week, we talk about Drama Club and talk about how theater has impacted both of our lives, the benefits that have come from being on stage, and how awesome hugging is. Thanks for listening again, and you always have a friend with Bendy.